This is the Anbernic RG280v. 1 year later. I bought this thing a while back, and yeah, now I've had this for quite some time. Now, if you look, you can see this is beat up. It's got some scratches. And that's because of all my handhelds. This is my most traveled handheld. If you follow my channel, you know I had like some problems with Anbernic devices, coming defective. This is the reason why I kept going back to Anbernic, because this handheld, of all my handhelds, has the single best build quality. Now, I know it's not, you could probably find better on the market. I think the 351M, right, because it's all made of metal, probably has better build quality. But this thing, buttons feel great. The screen is really, really nice and bright. This thing, build quality is awesome. One of the things that I did not like, I got the custom firmware. Now, if you look at the videos, surrounding this thing and its release, they say get the custom firmware. I don't like the custom firmware, and I'm about, to the point where I put this down because of it, and I want to reload the original stuff to use it again. And here's why. So they say get the custom firmware because the interface is better. It is. That's true. They say the shortcuts are better. They are. That's true. The big thing they tout in terms of why you should get the custom firmware is because you can play more stuff. And I have found that to be absolutely untrue. Usually what happens when you're testing this machine out, or any PS1 based functionality, they usually go to Tekken 3, which I don't think I have installed here. And the reason why is because it's a harder game to play on the PS1. So the original one could, you opened up Tekken 3 and you could see it running really slowly. You put on the custom firmware, you play Tekken 3, it runs a lot faster. So as a benchmark on paper, it looks like it runs a lot faster. And that is absolutely true. But what I found is that even though it plays that game faster, the overall compatibility dropped quite a bit. I'm limited in what games I can put on here because a lot of them just don't run, and whereas they would before. So let's take a look. Taika Rashenden 2. It's, when I was buying Japanese PS1 games, this one will actually run, but you won't see anything. So that's not going to work. Let's see if I have any other. Okay. To sum it up, I really wanted to play Star Ocean 2, but more than that, I wanted to play Dragon Warrior 7 on the PS1. And I put that on here, and it ran with the old hardware, or the old OS, and when I made the upgrade, it just wouldn't run. I would launch the game, and it would just go back to the screen, like it would fail to run. So that sucked. And on top of that, I see that happening. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I didn't actually accidentally shut it down. I see that happening with SNES games as well. And to me, on a system that at the time was almost $100, it's just not good. So let me see if I can show you an example here. Yeah, there it is. Super NES. Yeah, here we go. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2. I found that a cartridge version of that at Tigerfest, and I bought it, so I wanted to play it on my little handheld. And you try and run it. See, it's unsupported video mode. So, was there a native setting that needs to change? It ran before the update. So there's a chance I'm doing something wrong, but it doesn't happen with all Super Nintendo games, which is weird. If I just pick a random one, let's see if it happens again. Yeah, see, that launches. And it sucks because they legitimately did good things with the interface. If I were to tell you something really nice about it, the way the favorites works is really, really good. Having a complete list of favorites with thumbnails, including, this is Pico 8, right? And that's in my favorites, and this runs really well. Which at the time, gotta close the doors first. Oh well. At the time, there weren't a lot of systems that could do Pico 8. And here's Jetpack. Oop, I did it again. Here's Jetpack for MS-DOS. Now, most of these systems have like MS-DOS compatibility, but it's usually really cumbersome to set up. This one I was actually able to do. So I can make my Jetpack levels on Anbernics, which is really nice. Overall, I think this is a good system. I would be choosy over your operating system. Be ready to make a couple of operating system changes, which sucks. It requires a little bit more setup than I think is reasonable. But it's good stuff. Looks good, feels good to play. It's very small, right? So even holding it like this, my hands feel a little cramped. But the reality is, at one point I went full fanny pack, and this thing is always with me. Yeah, see, that's what happens with some games. I just try and launch them, and the operating system is just like, no. It just goes right back to the game select screen. So there you go. That's the RG280v. There have been a lot of releases since this, so we'll see.